Hey friends, I'm back again, and we are doing another Synastry video today, concentrating on Mars conjunct partners ascendant, because I had a fan request it. If you request videos, sometimes you get them. So, Mars is the planet of drive and how we get things. Venus is what we desire, Mars is how we get it. And it, represents the rough side of sexuality, male sexuality, as opposed to Venus, which is female sexuality. So Mars is a very intent planet, and, originally rules the 8th house in Scorpio, so it's that very scorpionic energy, as well as representing, Mars as well. So it's, Aries as well. So it's a planet that is really about getting what it sees. And it is known as the warrior within us all. So the Ascendant is our personality. The sun is our identity, the moon is our feelings, and the Ascendant is very much our personality and describes that first house, very much describes our physical body. And what we do with it, how we look, how other people perceive our physical self, and how we come across. So the Ascendant is very, very important. So Synastry is astrological compatibility. When we put two charts either side by side or on top of each other, and we can see the connections between the people by how their planets aspect each other. So it gives us a lot of information about how two people interact, get along, feel about each other on a day-to-day basis. So when we have somebody's planet of drive, sexuality, desire, that kind of selfish energy. Mars is a very selfish planet. When that comes to contact somebody's ascendant, which is the cusp of their first house, it is their showing their physical body and how they look to the world. When we have this going on, this typically shows that the Mars person is extremely attracted to the ascendant person. Very physically attracted to the ascendant person. Likes their looks, likes how they present themselves, likes how they come across. Mars can come on very strong to the ascendant person, because this is a contact that really kind of brings up this primal attraction in the Mars person. They see it and they want it. So it, you have to look at the sign that the Mars and the Ascendant are falling into, because water Mars is going to be more reserved. Scorpio Mars is very intent but very subtle. And then you have, your fire Mars, your Aries Mars, and your Leo Mars that are, totally going to go for it. So it's, how this expresses, the intensity of it really depends on the sign. So Mars can become very sexually obsessive in some cases. This is a very intent and intense energy within somebody. And Mars is, very much, that targeted sexuality. So when it decides it wants the ascendant of somebody, it's very turned on just by looking at the ascendant person. And so they pursue, because there's a thought that the way that they want to express their Mars, their sex drive, is very much in tune with the way the ascendant person presents themselves. So the way the ascendant person presents themselves very much brings out the animal within the Mars person. So there can be a ambition to be with the ascendant person physically, because Mars is really where our ambition is found. So the Ascendant person can find the Mars person as overly persistent, even cocky about getting them, because this really, kind of brings up this, almost this feeling of, I must win, the Ascendant person in the Mars. And so the Mars person can actually sometimes have issues with recognizing boundaries that the Ascendant person has. Because Mars is not really a respectful influence. Mars is very much a steamroller within all of us. And it very much wants to have what it wants. And so it can, sometimes the Mars person can be guilty of not recognizing boundaries because they are so excited about connecting with the Ascendant person. Mars is has an issue with tunnel vision, is what it is. He's very, intent, meaning that he's very focused on one thing at a time. So the Mars person can kind of come across as wanting, having a very one-track mind when it comes, to the view of the Ascendant person. So, all in all, it really is talking about intense physical contact between these two people. The Mars person is very desirous of that. The Ascendant person is typically very attracted to the Mars person as well. They like the, if it's a female's Ascendant with a male's, they often find, that, the masculinity of the male, to be like the biggest turn on, more so than in a regular relationship. That could be one of the things, that they point to. So it's something that typically works both ways when it comes to the attraction. And you want to look at the sign that these both fall into to show where they physically motivate each other. Because, this can really show that they actually motivate each other to take some kind of physical action because they have this connection. Sexual action, absolutely. But more than that, because, you want to look at Aries. If they both have their, Ascendant and Mars in Aries, then it's going to be like impulsivity or sports, or they can motivate each other to take risks. If it's Capricorn, it can be work or career that they stimulate each other to take action in. So it is a motivating, attractive influence that typically is considered positive, but you have to consider everything, because somebody could have an extremely powerful Mars, if it's heavily aspected to Pluto and, in a fire or earth sign, or, it can come across to the Ascendant person as obnoxious. So you have to consider everything. So, hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. Yes, I do private consultation. You can find me on the internet at truthandaspectastrology.com. You can find me on Facebook at Truth and Aspect Astrology. And I will be back super, super soon with more super cool astrology videos. Bye-bye.